Hello guys, today I'm gonna install a GPS tracker on my electrical skateboard. The reason why I'm doing this is because my value on my skateboard costs more than $1,000. So it'll be great for other people that are investing too much on their skateboard so they could protect their investment. Anyways, this GPS tracker works globally, so you don't have to be next to USA or anything. This could work in China, this will work in Canada, Massachusetts, whatever you could think of. So this will be a real GPS tracker when it comes to globally tracking your products that you own. All right, so right now I'm gonna focus on the DC converter to 5 volt. I'm gonna reinforce the inductor. And for you guys, you could reinforce the inductor or the capacitor if you want. I'm just doing it for the insurance, so this doesn't fall off from vibration from the skateboard. So if you want to do this procedure, it's up to you. But if you want, you could put hot glue to support the capacitor on both sides. Just make sure you don't damage where the small components are at. These little small capacitors. I'm just going to focus on inductor. So I'm going to put it on this side and then this side as well, because they have big opening to actually support it. So I'm going to put just a little bit here, just to reinforce it, and then the other side. That's pretty much it. So now that we apply the hot glue to the inductor, the next step I'm going to focus on is to apply the heat block. So the MOSFET on these chips doesn't overheat when actually charging the device. So I'm going to peel this adhesives. And then apply it on top where you see the MOSFET chips. You want to just put it nicely even, square. And voila. As you can see, that's how it looks when you actually put it on. So I'm gonna solder the pads ahead of time where it says N, as you can see, N for negative. So I'm gonna do that ahead of time. And the next thing is, now that I actually did this, let me just clean that up. All right, much better. So this is done. The next thing is I'm going to do the wires. Okay, I'm going to solder that. Okay, that's all set. I'm going to do the black next. It's hard to do. That's all set. Okay, next thing I'm going to solder the black wire directly where it says N negative. It's hard to see. It says N negative. So this section over here is going to provide, it's coming from the battery in, out to the GPS. See where it said out? Yeah. So we're going to solder these. Okay. I'm going to start with the black first. So that's done. Let me see how it looks. I'll do a touch up later. And the next thing is the red. Sorry, I need help with him. Alright, let's heat it up. So now that I got these soldered directly to the in and out, I mean in positive and in negative, now I'm going to cut the wire. Probably like, let's see, I got a ruler here. Probably do 6 inches. Yeah, sounds about right. So here we go. Bam. And this section, I'm going to install the XT30. So from there, I'm going to use this side to connect directly to the battery, which is this one. So it's going to, this one's going to be connected to the battery, and this is going to be connected to the DC converter. And boop, and it connects. So I got to strip these ends. Okay, strip this a little bit more. That's good enough. And I'm gonna get heat shrink. Probably cut 50%, 50, 0.50, and then copy the same. Alright, so that's good. So put the heat shrink first before you actually lock it in place. Okay, we're gonna 10 dip these ends. Put the connector so the connector doesn't melt the plastic. This will be more reinforced. And I'll start with the positive section first. But first is 10 dip this. Man, it sucks. Alright, got it. So here it goes. Do the same for the negative side. Too much. Alright, that's good. So we're going to do positive first. Heat up the heat shrink. Put more soldering on the tip. That's done. And then the last one is going to be the negative. Put more solder on your tip. Don't like how it looks. Done. So, as you can see, let's see, it's clean joints. Now you can unplug this, move the heat shrink, bam, bam, and you just heat it up. If I can find the lighter, okay. All right. All right. So this section is officially done. So that means this connector will be connected directly to the battery, to the DC converter, which converted it to 5 volts. So the next thing is we have to solder the USB cord. So this is going to be very helpful because not a lot of people understand how to read the color on these USB plugs. So I'm going to cut about 10. This whole thing is just a demonstration. You can cut it whatever length based on your application of your skateboard, how long you need, whatever. But I'm gonna do 10. Later on I'll just modify it. So I cut 10 inches. Done. So now we got a USB cord that's cut. We're gonna strip the ends. I think I did 1 inch. I stripped. All right. So I stripped it. So now you see these multiple colors that not a lot of people understand. What we need is just a black, which is ground, and red is just the positive. We're gonna cut the green and white, which these green wires are designed for data transferring. One is for receiving, one is for sending out. So we're gonna cut that out. We don't need that. Oh fuck, I cut the wire. Yeah, I make mistake. So we're gonna strip this again. Sucks. Now it's gonna be short, but it's okay, it's still not enough. I just did it as a demonstration. Okay. Alright. So just the red and green, the red and black that you need. Just be careful, because if not, you make a mistake like I did. Just cut those. That's it. So that's all you need, the red and black. You will see different wires that are white and black. It's still ground. Same thing on red and white. So if you see that kind of strip, it's still the same. Anyways, so we're gonna strip the ends. Well, let me see if it's gonna work. Negative. Just testing. Let's strip a little bit more. Okay. Remember, cut those green. and white. This is for data transfer. Okay. That should be perfect enough. Yeah. So I'm going to strip the ends. Okay. Tin dip it. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, if you read the sign where it said out negative and out positive, just remember this is size positive when you flip it from here. So this is positive and this is negative. We're going to solder this wire in the back. That's my preference, but the reason why I want to glue this wire directly on this board with hot glue. So you're going to see my technique. Okay, so I'm going to tin this. And this side too. It's all clean. And then from there, what did I just say? So negative. Let's see. Yeah. So this is positive. And for negative, it's this side. It's hot. So I'm gonna heat this up first. Okay. Let's see. Solder perfectly fine. So at this point, you want to clean the ends with alcohol. But I'll do that later since this is a demonstration. Now the next thing is we're gonna flip this wire like this. And we're gonna use the heat gun, the hot glue gun, to put it in place. And it'll be solid enough to actually be locked in place. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna wait until the heat gun is actually warm. I'm gonna glue the section where the outside of the wire is gonna be stuck to the PCB board. Just want to make sure this looks nice. Lock it in place, and I'm gonna heat up the heat gun. Just wait until it cools. Add some more. At this moment, you have to wait until it cools down. All right, so I'm gonna add more just to give it more reinforce. All right, that should be enough. So I'm gonna wait until it cools down and I'm gonna use a heat gun, well, hair blower, just to make the whole thing more flush design. I'm gonna heat up the glue so it could just be more unified and very smooth texture if you're very perfectionist. Alright, I'm gonna wait until it cools down. As you can see, it's very nice and smooth. So now that the hot glue is actually cooled down, make sure you clean all the pads with alcohol so you don't have no residue of flux, because flux over time does eat the circuit board. And as you can see, the final product, we've reinforced it. For you guys, you could do it here and here as well, so this doesn't fall off. But from my experience, this fell off a lot. So I just reinforced it with hot glue. A soldered connector, see, ground goes to N of negative, and then positive goes to N positive. This is what's going to connect to the battery. And from underneath, as you can see, this is out positive. This is out negative. This is going to go to the GPS or whatever device you plan to use in the future. So you flip it, as you can see, it's pretty accurate. And you can see the hot glue actually smoothed out from the heat gun. So the next thing is, since I'm completely done, I'm going to use heat shrink just to slide it over it, then heat it up. So slide this in here first, over it. It's a little tight, so I had to stretch this out. And now the next thing is to use the heat gun. Alright, so it's done. So the next thing is we're going to test this out and see if it works. I'm going to cross my finger. Alright, so once you finish your adapter, this DC to 5-volt converter, you want to make sure you actually solder 2 wires to the positive and negative of the battery. As you can see, I solder one for the negative and one for the positive, which ends up being this connector right here, the XT30. So from there, now I can connect this directly to this. Hold on, let me get the little support. Move this forward. So this is the one I just created. Get the XT30, connect to the battery of the lead. Boom, it's done. And then from there, I can connect this to the GPS. And you can see it's charging. So it's just always going to be charging directly to your battery, and it doesn't take that much out of your battery whatsoever. For my calculation, connecting this directly to the battery should last about 3 years. But since we're always charging these to ride around and stuff like that, it all depends on your quality of your battery and how long you ride and all that stuff. So probably extremely long. So now this is live, and now you could just install it anywhere on top here, or you could put it here like I did. Boom, done. Now, nobody can steal your board. You can track your board live 24/7, real time. So there's no way they can actually steal your stuff. That's it. That's pretty much it. And then the rest, you just mount this in the side right here and call it a day.